much more of a, it's much more self and how politics is there. Not to say popular, but I feel like it's a lot more prevalent, and it's like, and it's a lot more. You get what I'm saying, everybody? You know, a lot more natural beauties walking around, and it's like I'm, I'm just saying, it's like it's very, very deep. It's like natural diversity, exactly, natural diversity beauty. Well, exactly, exactly, man. So yeah, I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to be home. I think Oliver knows what I'm talking about. Thank you, Greg. It's just like, it's just like when you look at the people, man, it's just like, I feel like there's one other person that really made an impression on me because I was on a plane. There was this middle-aged woman that was sitting right next to me on the plane. It was a middle-aged woman, and it was a white woman. She had the aisle seat. I had the middle seat because I was basic economy with Delta, which means I'm the last person to board. I'm in the last group to board. I flew basic economy with Delta, so I got stuck with a middle seat. And there was this one white woman who was probably in her, I had to guess, she was probably in her late 40s. She was sitting on my right. And what's kind of crazy, man? She just had this smile on her face the whole flight. From the minute I laid eyes on her to tell her I need to go into the middle seat, she got up and let me in. She just had this smile on her face. She's not a flight attendant. She was just a passenger. She just had this smile on her face. She just sat there like this the whole flight. She wasn't smiling at anybody in particular. She just smiled. She was smiling the whole flight. And I'm like, it made me kind of feel like, the biggest feeling that I had when I saw that man, when I was on that flight, just looking at everybody, y'all laughing when I say this, is I just feel like, man, I feel like life is hard for a lot of people in America right now. Things are really expensive. Services are really expensive. Cars are really expensive. I just feel like things are very hard right now in America. It feels like when you watch the news, everybody feels like financially things are really expensive. A lot of people are struggling. But I feel like not everybody, I feel like there's a great amount of people who, even though times are like kind of tough, they still try to face it with a smile. Like, does that make sense, everybody? It's like they might be like struggling or they might not be doing. Does that make sense? It's like they face it with, so even it's like you don't know. I'm not saying this from that one woman, but what I'm saying is like that's what you gotta respect, I think, about the American spirit. And that's what I noticed is like, notice some people, they might be at the airport, right? And let's say they work as a whatever at the airport and they might not make a lot of money as someone, let's say, who's like, a lawyer or a doctor, but I feel like they still have, I feel like this is for society. I feel like it's kind of sad for me to say this, but it's like Chinese society, you are very, even there's no caste in China, there is in India. But I feel like people in China are so smart. They're very acutely aware of their social status and their socio-economic status. And a lot of times I feel like within that Chinese society, it creates this sense of, in Chinese, I call it a 自卑, which means like a self, I don't want to use the word shame, but it's like a self, it's like, let's say you are you're a waitress at a hot pot restaurant in China somewhere. I feel like you are so hammered by your manager of needing to be customer service friendly and needing to make sure that the customer is well taken care of, like God, that I feel like it made your overall sense of living. Does that make sense? I didn't get that feeling when I was in America, man. I never felt like anybody who was working in a service job, at least I didn't see it with my own eyes in the brief time that I was there. I didn't feel it. It's like I felt like I could go and I luggage handler in LAX and they are just as much swag, they got as much confidence as they would if it was a who was at the airport. I really do feel that. And you know, it's like when I was at the gate, to the Delta gate agent, you know, just like you look in their face and you just look at the way they talk to you. You know, there was an African American lady who was basically the gatekeeper because Delta has this thing now called they didn't have that when I left America, but they have this thing called the self check-in. So you could go to a machine and you could go and like click some buttons and they'll print out a luggage tag. I'm too old school for that shit, so I didn't do it. But there was an African American woman, an older woman, who was standing there, like basically making sure that you knew what you were doing, helping you. And I was talking to her, and I felt like she sounded like my history teacher from high school. Like I felt like her attitude and her demeanor was similar to like my history teacher. I felt like she sounded like my teacher. You know, so it was like, I don't know, man. It just was like these little things. It's like these little things. I still, we as a country still have that very individual spirit. I think individual spirit is such alive, strong here in America. It doesn't matter what job you do. It doesn't matter if you have a job at all. I feel like individual spirit and the individual self of confidence, I feel like that's still very much alive in America. And also, you still see smiles on a lot of people's faces. But the difference, I think, this is what makes me kind of sad to say. I feel like 30 years ago, if you saw that type of a smile, a lot of times you would believe it because we were doing really well as a country 30 years ago. I feel like a lot more people were doing a lot better than they are now. Whereas I feel like nowadays, man, a lot of people are just trying to get by. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people are just trying to get by such that you're wondering if that smile is really reflective of how they feel or if they're just trying to like, and I say this in a positive way, like they're trying to put on a happy, optimistic smile because they were raised the right way. They were raised to say their parents taught them, go out into the world with a smile, be nice to everybody, because they were raised right. But you don't really know what that person is really going through. You know, they could be having, issues at home. They could be having financial problems. They could be dealing with inflation, whatever, right? So it just feels like, man, like, I just feels like there's a lot of people, at least for my brief time being at LAX, I haven't left the house at all today. But it just feels like, man, like, I just feel like I saw a lot of people who were like holding it together. But I could just tell by the way they were dressed, by the way that they kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, I could just kind of tell, like, maybe, does that make sense, everybody, man? It's like, does that make sense, everybody? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know? So, yeah, man. So those are like some of the brief observations that I made. And it just feels like not much has changed, man. You know, not much has really changed here in America, in North Carolina, in the 6 years that I was gone. You know, my parents still drive the same cars. They never bought any new cars. The cars still work great. The house still looks exactly the same. It's well maintained. And, you know, life just seems like it's pretty much stood still for the last 6 years. It really doesn't feel like it's changed at all. So, yeah, man, it just feels like, you know, it just feels like everything is still, you know what I'm saying? It just feels like everything is still just pretty still. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense, everybody? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay? But I'm going out tomorrow, man. I got to go handle some business. Not tomorrow, today. I got to go handle some business today. I got to go with my dad and we got to go handle some business. But, yeah, man, those are my observations of America so far. What's up, JC? Yeah, man, I feel like, man, yeah, I know. I see all your comments, man. I see your comments. What's up, JC? It's just, yeah, man, it's just, no, they didn't cry, Dr. Ortiz. My parents didn't cry. Neither did I, because I saw them. I saw my mom just in October. So they didn't cry. But, you know, I got to tell you guys this other thing, man. It's like, I got to be honest with you guys, man. I've been living in China for a minute. I've been living there for 6 years. I just returned my apartment, so I technically don't even have a house in China anymore. I was kind of thinking about this, man. I was like, maybe I should stay in America for a little bit longer. I was like, why am I leaving so fast? Why am I leaving in 17 days? I was thinking about this yesterday. I was like, why am I leaving so fast? You know, I was like, why am I going back to Asia? You know what I'm saying? I was like, maybe I should stay with my parents a little bit more. You know what I mean? What's up, BB? But it's like, you know, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, I gotta do my job though. I gotta go to Japan. I gotta go to Korea, and I want to do some more content. I have a lot of content, but at the same time, I was like, you know, we have a good enough channel where we can make content from anywhere in the world. Thank you, BB. I was like, why don't I just stay with my parents a little bit longer? So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm still going back to Japan as planned. I'm gonna go to Japan as planned on March 21st, and then I'll go to Korea as planned, and I'll come back to China. I'll find a new apartment. But don't be surprised if I come back home to China before winter break. Don't be surprised if I do that. Don't be surprised if I come back, like stay with my parents for like a whole summer and just hang out with my parents. You know, thank you, Bay. So yeah, man, just like thinking about life and, you know, how I should be spending my time with my parents and shit like that. You know, parents are getting older. My dad's sleeping right now, so he can't hear me. But I just feel like my dad looks a lot older than I remember. My dad's 60 years old. He turned 61 in 3 months. He turned 61 in 2 months. My pops look a lot older than I remember. Like the way his face looks, the way his eyes look. He just looks more tired. He just looks more stressed out. He looks older, man. And it makes me feel like maybe I should be home a little bit more. You know, just like looking at my dad. Yeah, I feel like I should be home a little bit more. So just shit like that, man. I was just thinking about it. You know, and also you got to intertwine all this with my channel, right? Because this is kind of like my livelihood, right? This is kind of like my job, right? This is my livelihood. This is what I do for a living. So I also got to think about, you know, the type of content I got to make for you guys. You know, because I have to make content. I have to make, you know, history content for you guys. So it's just like, I be thinking about a lot of stuff, man. And like, hold on, this woman is inviting me. Just like a lot of shit on my mind, you know? There's a lot of stuff on my mind. What's up? What's up, Ray?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
I'm
Why do you
back in
feel
America.
like a little frustrated? Why? Why do you feel a little sad?
Who feels sad?
You.
I do feel a little bit sad.
Right.
Because I saw my mom and dad for the first time in like 5 months. And I feel like my dad looks a lot older.
Yeah. When I met my mom, I felt the same, really. So you should spend more time with your family
I'm thinking
right
about
now.
it. I'm thinking about it. I am thinking about it.
Okay. So you
How
are
you doing?
here with your mom right now? You're there with your mom?
My parents are sleeping right now. It's like it's 12:30 at night in North Carolina.
Okay, I see.
So my parents are sleeping.
So you can, if you receive uni.
I can't speak loud. No, I gotta go. Yeah, I can't go crazy loud. I gotta be quiet.
Okay,
All
I
right,
see.
let's do it. Let's do it.
I see.
What's 317? 317 is your birthday?
Yes, 3/17 is my birthday.
Okay, make sure I'm gonna write that down on my calendar. 317. Do not battle Ray. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna keep that in mind because I'm gonna lose. I'm not gonna battle you on 317.
Thank you, Kosuke. What if you just lose today?
I might. I got a
Next
10.
time.
I got a 10 match winning streak. I got a 10 match winning streak. I'm trying to keep it.
I'm living with my mom right now.
You live with your mom?
Yes.
BB,
I just
you a beast.
live with my mom that this year.